Pavel. Those, from my point of view, are amazing guys, very knowledgeable, very technical, very skilled people. And the bar is set very high, right? And obviously I'm not a technical or let's say developer person. I do tend to vibe code and play around with everything. But today, we'll talk about Kasplex. So, there is no, or I should make a clear distinction between what is Kasplex, who is behind Kasplex, if there any connection with Kaspa, and basically today's agenda is about what we've built, what we are building, and what is to be expected. I believe that what we already built shows proof of our capabilities, and it already reached Kaspa ecosystem. So, one of the discussions around Kasplex was who's behind Kasplex, who are the developers, how big is the team, if they are well known, if they are KYC, so on and so forth. Kasplex is a non-profit organization funded entirely by KEF, which is Kaspa Ecosystem Foundation. Kasplex doesn't follow and doesn't need to raise any money. It's being 100% funded, as I was mentioning, by KEF. And the core figures of Kasplex, people that are, let's say, the most active on X and Telegram and everything, are Chris, who is the co-founder, and 5BB. And of course, me as a business developer for Kasplex, because my role with Kasplex is to represent them and to build partnerships and to somehow build a bridge between the technical team and the community. Pass over the messages that what they are building, what we are building, in a form that is well understood or easily understood by the community. Of course, behind Kasplex, as I was saying, we are up to 15 people. Most of them are based in China, because people are asking where is Kasplex based, who is behind it, right? Most of the guys are based in China. Other guys are spread across the world. Some of the people are already employed full-time by Kasplex, whilst others are being contractors and old OGs in the crypto space. Because behind Kasplex, we are not talking about only developers that are within the space. They are well, let's say, rooted developers in the programming languages that we are using. They don't necessarily are involved in the crypto, but they are building the pieces that we need to deploy the very first layer 2 on Kaspa. And it's the very first layer 2 on Kaspa, but I'll go into the details in a bit. So, in a nutshell, as I was saying, KEF sponsored in Kasplex. Kasplex has a team of up to 15 people. The most known ones are Chris and 5BB. And in the Malaysia event, if anyone was there, like 1.5 months back, 5 team members from Kasplex who were there present. There are some pictures floating around. It's for them, marketing and being on front of the people is very difficult. It's their culture, and they don't necessarily want to do this. Hence, you guys have me today to listen to. So, today's speech is going to be, I only have 5 slides, so it's not very long. But today's speech is going to be the elephant in the room. And we know that the elephant in the room is you can interpret it as a bad thing, right? You need to address a problem that is in the room today with us. So let's fix the problem and let's see what happens. But this time, the elephant in the room, it's a good thing. And why is that? Because Kasplex, at the end of the day, and I will keep saying this throughout the presentation, Kasplex is the very first layer to building something on Kaspa. And this is an undeniable truth that we can see and we can test for the last, I recall, maybe almost 4 months now. And we will see some figures, some metrics, and how everything evolved, and obviously what are the next steps. But today, the elephant in the room is not about something that is bad, it's about something that is very good, and is very good for the Kaspa ecosystem, as I'm going to explain in a bit. So, let's talk about something, and I hate doing this. I don't usually when I interact with the public, I hate putting the public doing some things. But I have one simple question, and I do expect your honest response to it by just raising your hand, and that's the only interaction. Do you believe, without knowing anything, or by reading whatever is listed there, that KRC20, the KRC20, let me do a short step back because I assume everyone knows what KRC20 is, but maybe that's not correct. KRC20 is a data inscription protocol that has been built and deployed on Kaspa last year in September, so 1 year back. Basically allows you to insert arbitrary data within the Kaspa network and with some limited OP codes. I think there are like 7 OP codes that you can use in the KRC20. So my question to everyone here who would obviously like to answer is, if you believe KRC20 was a success or a failure. If it was a success, please raise your hand. If it was a failure, leave your hand down. Okay, so we have a few people believing that KRC20 was a success. Now, this wasn't a tricky question, right? It's the perception of the users, the community, right? How everyone feels. How do you define success? Do you define success by the amount of money I made as a community member? By the volume of transactions that happened on Kaspa? By the acknowledgement of what Kaspa is outside of our crypto bubble? How do you define success? Obviously, if you define it by your own standards, which is totally fine, this means that it has been a success or a failure. But if we define it, and I was rehearsing this yesterday with Ashton, and I totally forgot something to say at the beginning, but I will do it at the end. I was rehearsing yesterday with Ashton and the team here. I was like, if I put my biased hat, because I'm representing Kasplex, if I put my biased hat, I would say it was a tremendous success. Some will agree, some will disagree. If I throw away my hat and I'm putting the community hat, right, I'm going to say, was it a success? For me, personally, it wasn't. Why? Because I made no money. Why? Because I didn't have time to work on it, right? Now, if I put my other hat, which is the, let's say, the degen of the community, it was a tremendous success as well. So defining success is based on everyone's feeling and metrics. But if we are talking about metrics today, let's see what KRC20 brought. And again, today's speech is about what we've built, what we are building, and what is to be expected in the near term and future term as well. So, KRC20 brought 2,000 plus tokens. You would say big, small, again, depends. It brought 110 million transactions on Kaspa. And I'm talking here about real life transactions, because when you are entering debates, I wouldn't call them war, but when you are entering debates on X, you will say people saying, you have scripts and you are just pushing and faking the transactions that Kaspa can handle. And thanks to the KRC20, Kaspa has been proven to be able to run and execute millions of transactions without any hiccup. And of course, we can do a step back with my previous question, if the KRC20 was a success or a failure. Without KRC20, we couldn't discover let's say, the issues that we had 1 year back. We didn't have the replace by fee mechanism, right? You couldn't fast track your transaction, not fast track, push it faster, right? We couldn't properly test in real life scenarios the throughput that Kaspa can handle. We couldn't test the mempool, we couldn't test anything, right? But with the KRC20, again, depending on which hat we are using, we managed to showcase to everyone that Kaspa can handle millions of transactions without taking a 1 millisecond issue, downtime, nothing, right? So KRC20 was let's say, the motive, not the motive, let's say that the component that made this possible, right? Now, miners benefited immensely by KRC20. The protocol paid 100 plus million cash to the miners. Of course, you had 1,000 to deploy, one cash to mint, you had the fees, you have the tradings, you have back and forth, those generated fees on the network. So finally, Kaspa was being used as a peer-to-peer, right? even if you had the KRC20 built on top of it, you're using the network as a sequencer and sending transactions and everything, right? So I wanted to do a bad or maybe stupid joke when I wrote the 4 OP codes that are needed for the stable scions, right? So today, I'm not sure if everyone knows or if this is well known, if a stablecoin issuer wants to deploy their stablecoin, they can do it on the KRC20 via the 4 OP codes that that are mandatory needed. Burn, mint, lock, and another one, right? Then, the elephant in the room, the open source code, right? So KRC20 is fully open source, and for this reason, there were teams that basically were able to deploy their NFTs on top of Kaspa. The KRC721 wasn't built by Kasplex. That is a totally different team that has nothing to do with Kasplex. But by providing the source code, they took the indexer, they modified it, and they were able to deploy and host the NFTs on Kaspa. Which again, for me, let's say, as a user, it doesn't really matter if it's A, B, or C. For me, as a community member and a user, I don't do NFTs, I never touch them, but still, those brought visibility to Kaspa. And people understood that on Kaspa, things are starting to move from, let's say, their standard DeFi or, let's say, user experience. You have NFTs, you have tokens, you can trade here and there. Of course, KRC20, as Kasplex, and as any other project out there, irrespective if you are talking about Bitcoin or anything else, nothing is perfect. No one is perfect. So, of course, we need to improve, and KRC20 was just the hit, the starting point of the journey that Kasplex has on top of Kaspa. And through KRC20, we've managed, again, to bring acknowledgement, to show that Kaspa is stable, and to offer transparency so people can see what everything is executed, use the indexer, modify it. We have the KNS domains guys that build their own. We have the teams that build the NFTs. So to sum up on this slide, again, what we've built is a proof that Kasplex delivered and delivers, to be seen, actual work that benefits Kaspa and the entire ecosystem. And for me, if I'm taking off my hat from being biased for Kasplex and I throw it away, again, it doesn't matter. If I see more traction, it doesn't matter who builds it. If I see more traction on Kaspa, that's a huge win for me personally. Because at the end of the day, I'm a Kaspa maxi, and for me, nothing else exists besides Kaspa. But I have a limited, let's say, desire to learn about anything else. So this is what we've built. And that has been proven as working, generated millions of transactions, stress testing the network. Now, the upcoming layer 2, this slide I use it in Malaysia as well. The upcoming layer 2, what I'm trying to showcase with this slide is there are 4 or 5 key messages here, right? The first one is that you will use CAS as gas. And you will see in the next slide, not so technical architecture, because again, I'm not too techy guy, but you will see a business more like architecture on how Kasplex is working. So in the upcoming layer 2, which of course is a base rollup layer 2 that uses Kaspa as a sequencer and data availability and executes the transactions, you use CAS as gas. There will be no other token. So what you need to do to use Kasplex layer 2, you just need to bridge your CAS from Kaspa layer 1 to the layer 2. Easy peasy. Then can you bridge it back? Of course you can bridge it back. So you'll be able, once you send your CAS, lock your CAS, get your CAS on the layer 2, then when you want to offboard from the layer 2 to the layer 1 back, you are burning that, you are getting your CAS back, two-way bridge, 100% working and without any, let's say, caveats. It works. It's not yet shared with the testing with the community for being tested, but it's something that makes you to use your CAS, give your CAS a usage. Besides the fact that let's hold and hope for increase, you are putting your CAS to work. Okay, now I was talking about the native bridge, I was talking about Kaspas gas, zkEVM, Kasplex already integrated the zk, but not obviously the zk that is on Kaspa because it's not yet on Kaspa. But on Kasplex, you could use zero-knowledge proofs to generate and validate using third parties or off-chain. So if someone wants to actually do a zk on Kasplex, they will be able to do that, but again, not from the Kaspa itself, as it's not yet developed. It's 100% EVM compatible, meaning that with very few small changes, you will be able to port over any smart contracts or anything that you have from an Ethereum environment directly to Kaspa via Kasplex. And there is another component, major component, that is now flying under the radar, so to say. It's basically a new VM that is aimed to offer even higher speeds, and it's being built by Kasplex, and it's going to be a totally different EVM product that we are going to launch. I love this picture because, I don't know, just showcases the key messages of the components that we have. Now, let's talk about the testnet and our working testnet for the last, again, 4 months maybe. We had 5 million blocks generated. Is it, let's say, too much, too many, too high, too low? Kasplex is not generating empty blocks. This means that Kasplex, if there is no payload in the layer 1 transaction that contains something for the layer 2, no block is being generated, right? And this might go like this, doesn't really make sense, but a ton of effort has been put into not generating empty blocks and actually generate blocks whenever you have a payload and whenever you need to do an execution on the layer 2, right? We had 300,000 unique addresses. Of course, some can debate that those 300,000 addresses were bots or stuff like airdrop farmers or whatever the scripting and everything is doing. For me, even if there were like, let's say, 50,000, let's say 10,000 wallets, this means, again, for me, with my community hat, that 10,000 more people potentially heard about Kaspa via Kasplex. Because again, Kasplex, so I should have started by saying what's the role of Kasplex. Kasplex's role is to offer the layer, the foundation for builders to build their tools on top of Kaspa. It's only the, let's say, the provider of the needed layer for everyone else to be able and capable to deliver the solutions on top of Kaspa. Good. In terms of statistics, so 5 million not empty blocks, 300,000 unique wallets, one blocks per second on average generation time, and we have already tested and working and can be obviously seen more than 1,000 TPS per second, right? So today each block can contain more than 1,000 TPS. This is not limited. Obviously you cannot have 100,000. It's more than 1,000 TPS per second. Is it sufficient? Is it not? We shall see based on the usage and how the layer 2 is going to be perceived and used in the community. So as for my previous slide, I believe personally that the statistics for the layer 2 gives a sense of security, trust, and speed. Now, when I talk about speed, I said 1 block per second, 1,000 TPSs. I said we can manage more than that. And again, I'm not saying 10,000, I'm saying tested 1,000 TPS. Security. We have our audit performed and it has been shared with the community like, I believe, 1 month back. Everything is up to debate. Sorry, 1 second please. So everything is up to debate, right? And you can find problems for solutions or you can find solutions for problems. So we had our audit done on the layer 2 All other components, and I'm going to switch the slide in a bit and discuss a bit more of that business architecture. All other components were audited, but only some of them were shared. And obviously there will be a question, but why aren't you providing the documentation, why aren't you providing more details, so on and so forth. And to be honest, prior to me joining Berlin, for my, I believe, third time now, I went to the team and I said, guys, it should be great if we can do ABC stuff, if we can discuss ABC questions, or let's say the most concerning issues that the community has, right? And they said, like, we need to update the documentation, we need to, I'm trying to figure a way not to say something I shouldn't. We need to focus our resources on the mainnet launch. Of course, as I was saying previously, you can do better in documentation, you can do worse in execution, you can do better in documentation, you can do better in execution. Depends on the amount of people, money, time you have, right? So, for us, for the time being, our problem and our efforts are going for the mainnet launch. Speaking about mainnet, this is going to happen, as I was saying in a podcast a few days back, 100% in September. I don't know the date. Well, I do know the date, but I cannot share the date because I learned from my mistake. When I was in Malaysia, I was with the team sitting outside and I was like, man, we should put a date on it. And they're like, I said, let's put a date on it. And they said, okay, I fully believe 31st of August is the perfect date. However, life showed that it's not the perfect date, right? And now, even if I know the date, and even if I know the target date, I will not be able to do that. However, the community, the builders and the developers will be informed 24 hours prior to the mainnet launch. So if it happens tomorrow, there will be an announcement today. If not, whenever that is going to happen. Anyway, coming back to the testing. These are the statistics. This is the speed of Kasplex built on top of Kaspa. Obviously, the speed comes from the Kaspa as well. This has been proven by multiple teams, tens of teams that are using Kasplex in their testnet, by projects that did millions of transactions and everything worked without any issues. How is our layer 2 working, right? So this is the architecture that, as I was saying, Elliot and Pavel, those are amazing guys. They know their stuff quite well. Very well, not quite well. So I'm not a techie guy, but in a nutshell, Kasplex layer 2 is has the following components. Has the nodes, has the bridge, and has the layer 2. Right? So, there are three types of nodes that can be run by the community or by the infra providers. I believe, 4 calls with 4 different infrastructure providers. They were all asking, can we host your nodes? Can we offer our service to the community? Can we do this and that and so forth? We are actively engaged with them. We will provide the Docker image of the nodes, and they will run the nodes as a service for the community. But the community as well can run the nodes by themselves. The question is, where are the nodes? Where is the documentation, right? So this, I don't want to put a timeline, but the nodes, Docker image, the updated documentation, the requirements will be shared very, very, very soon. So whoever wants to run a node, they can do it freely, be it a full or high-level node, or be it a lightweight node. They can run whatever node they need to. If you are a dApp builder, of course, you should run your own node just to make sure that everything is under your, let's say, you can manage your infrastructure without relying on any partner. So these three types of nodes will be properly documented and shared in a very, very small time frame. Now, I was speaking a few slides back about the two-way bridge, right? So Kasplex, not Kasplex, KEV, which is Kaspa Ecosystem Foundation, is working with a team to have the two-way bridge enabled. And I'm talking here about the layer 1 to layer 2, layer 2 to layer 1, and I'm talking here about the ERC20 to ERC20 and vice versa. So it's the bridge that you need to use to bring gas from the layer 1 and use it as gas for the layer 2. This is being done by a third-party team. This has been audited. I've read the reports. I think I had 3 reports of audits for the 2.8 bridge, and this will be released as soon as possible as well. Prior, potentially, we shall see when this hits to the entire community for the testing and then for the main. This diagram that is on the Kasplex site shows that you are sending a payload to the layer 1, the indexer listens to layer 1, picks up the transaction, then executes it after the sequencing has happened on Kaspa. So, to sum up a bit on what we've done, and our work proved that Kasplex is capable in delivering working solutions. We had KRC20 that shed light on Kaspa. We have the upcoming layer 2, which is very, very close, that is going to showcase what you can build on top of Kaspa and run DeFi on Kaspa. We are not talking about October, we are not talking about 2026, we are talking about September 2025, when the mainnet of the layer 2 will hit. So, that was all today. From a Kasplex perspective, I know as well that the community is eager to learn from a date, but again, learning from my mistakes, because it was my mistake, I said, okay, we shouldn't put a date now. So this might come as a disappointment to someone, or to most of them, but what I can assure everyone is that mainnet is happening in September. So be it end of September, be it tomorrow, an announcement will be made 24 hours prior, so the builders can actually prepare for the mainnet launch day. Now, I wanted to say at the beginning of the presentation, and this has nothing to do with Kaspa or Kasplex or any project. I started this, and I should have said who I am, another mistake. So I started this as a community member in Kaspa. I've discovered Kaspa 2.5 years back. Then I joined as a mod in the Telegram channel, and after that I had a speech in March in a Romanian event where it was Crypto Europe event. 2,000 plus people were there, right? And thanks to Ashton, I don't see him here, I don't know where he is. Thanks to Ashton and to Johnny that came from, Ashton came from the States, Johnny from China, and they supported me so much, and thanks to these guys, I was able to deliver, or to, let's say, promote Kaspa, because for me, Kaspa was the end, and is the end game for, and my only, let's say, concern, so to say. So a big thank you to Ashton and everyone that made this possible. Thank you for all of the people that, let's say, supports or criticize Kasplex. It's very good, and at the end of the day, you don't need one player, you don't need one line, only one North Star to look at, right? No, you need so many layer 2s and so many teams to deliver, so every community member that had their hand lowered or had their hand in upright position, they can choose whatever they want. You can choose to use A team, B team, Z team, doesn't matter. What matters is that Kaspa is the underlying foundation offering this service, offering the infrastructure and capabilities for us and other teams to build. So I'm more than happy to answer questions. However, do note that, and this is something that I'm being heavily criticized, which is fine. Please do ask your questions, and I'll do my best to address them in a, let's say, in a proper, hopefully way. So if anyone has questions, Sarah, if you could.
Anybody have any questions?
So I have a question about the nodes. So if the community can run the nodes, why should any provider do that instead?
That was a good question, thank you. That was also something that I was asking the infrastructure providers, right? So imagine, how do you split the community? Like, can you split it like 95% are able to install a Linux machine, deploy a Docker image, and make it 100% available and then you don't need the infrastructure providers, and 5% are only those people that are incapable of delivering or let's say of hosting a node? No. You have plenty of people that don't know how to do it. You have plenty of people that don't want to do it because of whatever reason, doesn't matter. Being lazy, they don't care. And you have the people that want to just use something that is off the shelf. Let me connect to whatever infrastructure provider. I have the nodes, I connect to that, and that's that, right? But to cut it short, it's very easy. If you want to run your nodes, you are free to do so. Once we, again, issue the documentation and the image, if you want to go fetch some services from infra providers, you can do that. Me personally, I know how to run a node, I know how to have a VM and everything like that. However, when it comes to Ethereum or other chains, I choose to go to different providers because of whatever laziness I have. It's easier for me to pay $1, $2, $3, $10 than to spin up virtual machines and making sure that they are up and running. Hope this answers your question, sir.
It did, thank you.
Any other questions?
Hi, I have two questions actually. The first, do you understand German?
Sadly, no.
Kann hier jemand übersetzen?
Ja.
In Englisch? Ja?
Ja.
Ja, super. Die Frage ist, wie sicher sehen Sie diese Smart Contract in Kaspa? Weil die letzte Zeit wurde eigene Smart Contract wie bei Sui gehackt und viele Leute haben viel Geld verloren. Also die Frage ist, wie sicher sehen Sie Smart Contract in Kaspa?
Yeah.
Danke.
Did you understand?
No. Nothing. I said, yeah, like.
So the question was how secure you think the smart contracts are in Kaspa, because some SUI things were hacked lately, apparently. So basically, can I trust to put all my savings onto the L2?
You know, I 100% respect people that know how to speak, ask questions, and be human beings, right? So I'm saying this because this is one of the criticisms, like, are you going to be responsible for if there is a failure, right? And can I put my life savings? Man, we have audit, we have battle tested and tested it for like 4 months. We believe everything is 100% state of the art. But then you have 0-day exploits, or you have something, a specific corner case that couldn't be catched by anyone, or it haven't been, let's say, reviewed by anyone. I cannot, and no one, what's sure in life is that we are, sorry for the drama, that we are going to die, but nothing else is sure, 100% sure, right? So I cannot tell anyone put your life savings into any layer 2, into any layer 1, into nothing. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But that's one of that was not necessarily the question. The question if it's secure or if it's like good enough because of the hacks that happened, right? Not good enough. Let's say more than good enough. Right? So again, having the audit, having this tested thoroughly by tens of teams, by people that actually used this, spammed it, attacked it, did everything that they could, nothing crashed. The issue is that we need to make a clear distinction between if the layer 2 fails, yeah, that's a problem. Or if the layer 2 runs, that's a severe problem. But if you have the applications built on the layer 2 that are hacked or that are rugging, that's not the issue of the layer 2 foundation, right, infrastructure. That's the issue of whoever built those. But for people that are not necessarily into this, for them, A equals A. It doesn't matter if it's, I'm not going to say names, a text called A or the Kasplex layer 2. It's a scam, it's a shit layer 2, sorry for the language. It's absolutely not secured, right? So, again, to cut it short, because I tend to speak a lot, we believe we battle tested it. We tested it from all parts possibly that we could. It has been audited and not by some random team. The information has been shared. Of course, the audit cannot capture everything, but still. So we believe wholeheartedly that the upcoming mainnet for the layer 2 is something that is going to work without any issues and without any security potential problems that might affect users' funds. Because at the end of the day, we are playing with money, and that's a critical point.
I have problem with English, but I try to explain my opinion. If I'm not mistaken, Kasplex is the first smart contract based on the fastest proof of work. And how do you see the future of smart contracts, Kasplex on proof of work of Kaspa? How promising is it in your opinion? How do you think it will be accepted by Kaspa community or proof of stake community?
Okay, thank you. Very, very good questions. And when I rehearsed is more. Anyway, when I was thinking about the speech today, because I don't have like notes of what I'm going to read and say, I totally forgot to mention, and this came up thanks to your questions, that Kasplex, because another question is what will happen when we're going to have native smart contracts, or when we are going to have vProgs. What is happening with Kasplex? It's going to be thrown away to the garbage can because we have better, most, let's say, more optimized and better tools? No. Kasplex is following, and some core team members from Kasplex are in direct contact with the Kaspa core team member. If you open the R&D chat of Kaspa, you will see some Kasplex developer there. Kasplex is not just a step here, and then we have the when you have the vProgs, we are moving along. Kasplex is integrating the vProgs and everything that is being built by Kaspa, the core team and dev members, in the future releases and updates. So for this, Kasplex will not go away once we have, let's say, better or more secure or more optimized functionality. It will evolve together with Kaspa. So it's going to go hand in hand with that. How it is going to be perceived by the community, I don't know. From my point of view, all options are on the table. People might say, we don't care, and it's going to be a flop. Now no one cares. Maybe people will say, outstanding, let's ape in like tens of thousands of people on every other chain. Or maybe people will say like, yeah, it's good, but the demand, or let's say the desire is not there. So I do not know how to answer this, how is it going to be perceived. I do know that people are looking forward for the mainnet, which again is going to happen extremely soon. And if they like it or not, no one is forced to do anything. So if you believe that Kasplex is not for you, that's okay. You are not forced to use anything. If you believe that you need to wait for Kasplex to open source, that's also okay. You don't need to use it from day one. If you want people to make sure that everything works, you can just hold. There's no rush in anything. Of course, there is a rush on degens that are trying to do whatever they want to do, but that we are talking about people that actually think of let's say, of the in-depth details of a new product. The proof of stakers you are asking, I have no clue, sorry, what those are. In my opinion, I wouldn't, but this is just me, I wouldn't stake my cash or anything else in nothing. I wouldn't put my money in a lock contract for a 10% API, I don't care for that. I want to have access to my money, I want to have security of my money, I want to have the money being in my pocket in a cold wallet. I don't touch anything, but that's just me, not Kasplex, it's just my personal thought. Did I answer the question?
Did you hate from proof of stake community, or did you hate anyone? or from Solana or
No. So for me, I don't want to get you guys bored, but I heard of Bitcoin in 2011 and I disregarded it for 6 years. I didn't care. Then, but my brother did anyway. But then when I learned about Ethereum, Solana, whatever, man, for me, it doesn't matter if it's Kasplex, if it's Kaspa, Bitcoin. It means that the entire population of the world has now tools, and they can read more and more about being the boss of your own money. So I don't hate Solana, I don't hate Ethereum, I don't hate anyone. To be honest, I really don't hate anyone, irrespective of what people are saying. What I do trust and like is that each and every project is bringing more and more and more visibility to the outside bubble of crypto, that a different banking system exists and you can be the boss of your own money. Right?
Thank you. Hello. One question. What specific functions does Kasplex Kaspador offer for cash payments in retail and luxury brands?
So again, Kasplex is Kasplex is we are not building any DeFi products on top of it, right? We are not coming and saying use our DEX, use our wallet, use our whatever. This is free for all to do whatever they want. Kasplex is the plane that takes you from A to B. Wherever you want to fly, you can just use the plane. If you want to use Kasplex for the luxury brands, because you have an idea and you're going to build a product so unique that Chanel is going to upload, nice. Kasplex doesn't have a target saying we want to address this brand or this segment or this population. No. Kasplex is just the foundation on which whoever wants to do that can do it. We don't aim anything rather than offering the infrastructure needed. So unfortunately I don't know how to answer more to that, but again the key message here is that Kasplex is just the foundation on which we can build. The sky is the limit.
That mean companies must know more from Kaspa, that they can also do this like payments.
Yeah, so I think I understand what you're saying. So, and this deviates a bit from Kasplex to KEF. So, Kasplex marketing, right? And marketing for retail. But what I know is that some big players are well aware of Kaspa. With or without money. They know the capabilities of Kaspa, they know the 10 blocks per second, they know the scalability, they know the security, the trilemma solving, so on and so forth, right?
Yeah, best.
So that is exactly done by the work that Mr. Jonathan, Mr. Sultan and others did for Kaspa. Work speaks for itself. But then you have communities that are spreading the word. Then you have entities such as KEF or others, like Kaspa Initiatives or KII, right? That are doing their job in promoting Kaspa. At the end of the day, it's just about, in my opinion, timing and patience, so the masses can hear about Kaspa.
Okay, that mean buy and wait.
Everyone can
no financial advice.
No, everyone can do whatever they want. So, and one last thing from my side. Thank you so much. One last thing from my side before I stop. I don't know the time, sorry. This has nothing to do with Kaspa, with Kasplex, with anything. This is just a personal message, and I'm taking this opportunity because this is being recorded. And sorry, just 2 more minutes. I'm taking this opportunity as a personal level. The issue is not the issue. My kid, whose name is David, right? He's 8 years old, and he has this severe, let's say, phobia of speaking in public. He was at school. He had the public speaking section. For 1 year, he didn't say one word. So I'm taking this opportunity just to say that you should believe in yourself and follow your dreams, and trust that people will listen to you, and you will achieve great things. Thanks everyone.